Welcome to the Butterfly Effect. I'm Chris Horner. This is the Women's Road World Championships for 2025. Before we get in today's race, a big shout out to Xer, your online rowing app. Guys, the cross season is just about getting ready to start. If you need some cross training, there is no better activity, especially for indoor, than the rowing app from Xer. Has the ability to strengthen up the core body, your arms, your shoulders, works your legs in, but everything's low impact, just like your bicycle was throughout the whole season. So in my day, we didn't have, of course, the apps for rowing, so I had to sit there and look at the wall. But nowadays, with the Xer app, you have the ability for structured training, real-time performance, and with the virtual world to keep everything fun and exciting, just like your cycling apps. If you're looking for a 14-day free trial, make sure you click on the link below and use the code MyManVic to save yourself 15% off your subscription of Xer. Now, let's get into today's race. With a profile at about 105 miles, I'll call it just over 160 kilometers in length, we're talking about multiple laps up here of 11 times, and we're with 2 climbs on the course, and one of them being 1.3 near the finish with a cobblestone section at 11%. You know everything's going to blow up on today's Women's Road World Championships, there's no doubt about it. But the question is how will the teams race? How, when you look at the teams from Longo Borghini, the Italian rider, she's won the Giro d'Italia. When you look at Demi Vollering from the Netherlands, well, you know should be able to put on a show at today's race. She was second at the Tour de France. And then when we're talking about the 25 Tour de France, you cannot leave out the French rider, Pauline Ferrand-Prévot, because you know with the kind of form she had at the Tour de France, well, it's got to be something that you got to keep an eye on. And she's coming in here without racing, just like she did at the 25 Tour de France when she dominated all the women to finish off both of the last 2 mountain stages of the Tour de France. So with those 3 teams in mind, you got to understand when they hit kilometer zero, everything's a little calm. In fact, you're seeing more action coming out the back with riders dropping out because at the World Championships, they have a lot of fill-in riders that they're filling in spaces from different nationalities. So that's why we see the action coming more out the back as riders getting dropped quite a bit off the back part, but at the front, it's curb to curb. We see Italy, we see the Netherlands, and we see France riding the front. Italy's going to ride the front quite a bit. In fact, too much. If I was directing the Sportif for Italy right now, I'd be keeping this a little bit calmer, but they're still at the front, and the pace isn't going exactly fast, so it's not so bad right now, but we just finished 1 lap. Everything's still together, and then we see the first rider attack. That's Karina Schrempf there from Austria. She goes up the road, she's solo. She's going to do about 60 kilometers, and I'm going to fast forward us now as we start getting into about 80 kilometers to go, 90 kilometers to go, excuse me. This is when we start seeing some attacks from the Netherlands. Okay, I like this move. I like any kind of move that's going to put pressure on France to have to start riding the front. So when we start seeing the Netherlands throwing in attacks, we start getting some company up front, and it's going to first come in the form of Julie van der Velde that's getting away from Belgium. She's getting up there. She's going to join Karina up there from Austria. They got 2 riders up there. Shortly after that, we're going to see a 3rd rider join. That's Netherlands, Sharon van Androoy up there. So we got 3 riders at the front. And in the back, France has been attacking too much now. They've been attacking like crazy all over the place. And if I have the Tour de France winner on my team and she tells me she's got good form, okay, maybe I'm a knucklehead. Maybe she walked into the meeting, the writers' meeting in the morning, she said, I just don't have the form. But when we look at the interviews that she's given during that sleepier time at the beginning part here, the first half of the racing, she says she'd like to win today's race. So when I'm watching France throwing in attack after attack after attack, this is just a knucklehead move. If you want to follow attacks and possibly get a satellite rider up there, that's one thing. But if you're France, you do not need to be attacking when you have who theoretically should be the #1 ranked rider in the group right now, Pauline Ferrand-Prévot. So there's no reason to be attacking, but they are. The 3 riders are up front. They're going to eventually get wrapped back. And we're just under about 60 kilometers to go. I'll call it 57K to go when they're getting wrapped up. Then we're going to fast forward all the way into about 3 laps to go, so about 45 kilometers to go. Eventually, we get 2 more riders going up there. That's Rug, she's from Switzerland, and Benito, the Spanish rider. These 2 riders hold a little bit of a gap, but it's always been pretty close, about 30 seconds, 45, 50 seconds to get out there at the maximum time. Then we start coming into about 34 kilometers ago. We got 8 riders going up the road. This is Magdalene Valliere from Canada. She's going up the road. She's got 8 riders. It's Fisher Black on her wheel. Mavi Garcia there from Spain. Evita Music from France. Barbara Malacotti from Italy. Rihanna Marcus there from the Netherlands. Antonio Niedermeyer from Germany. And Gina Calori from Switzerland. Now, there's 2 riders stuck in the gap, too, up there. And we're going to see Blanca Voss and Yasmin Lichete there from Switzerland. As those two riders are getting wrapped up, now it starts growing bigger, and it's not going to take too much longer before we catch the two riders up front with just about 2 kilometers to go. So I'll call it 30 miles. Each lap's about 15 kilometers to go. And remember, it's a technical course. It's never really flat. It's always twisty. It's always lumpy and bumpy, and it's got 2 solid climbs in there. So this group is going to start getting interested once we come into 21 kilometers to go, and it's Magdalene up there throwing in an attack. Fisher's on the wheel. Mavi Garcia's there, so 3 riders there. But we're seeing the big 3 teams come out the back as Marcus from the Netherlands getting dropped. Italy's getting dropped. Evita Musek from France is coming out the back too. Now with that in mind, guys, remember, France has been attacking back there a long time, so you don't want to have riders that are up in the group, especially when it got this big, and now you're watching France get dropped. We're going to see that up front, that Marcus from the Netherlands and Niedermeyer from Germany, they'll catch back on with about 16 kilometers to go. We're coming into just about the last lap with 15 kilometers to go. Now we got 5 women at the front. Behind, if I back it up to that second lap with 31 kilometers to go, we saw the first of the favorites attack, and there's Longo Borghini throwing in attacks, so the peloton's been blown up to pieces. And we've got 20 women back there as a whole, sometimes getting a little bigger, sometimes a little bit smaller. But one thing's for sure, Urska from Slovenia back there, she's been hanging at the back of the group the whole time, doing a pretty good ride for the most part, but it's about time to start getting to the front because we're coming in the last lap to go, and we got 5 women up front holding right now at about 50 seconds. Now as we come up with 1 lap to go, Longo Borghini throws in another tack with 200 meters to go. I'd have liked to seen this tack from the leader here of the Italian team just a little bit sooner than 200 meters ago. She threw that same attack in, as I mentioned, with 2 laps to go. Now it's 1 lap to go. She's throwing an attack. And of course, this is causing selection. It's reducing the size of the group when she gets it down to 11 riders. But the problem is you don't have any teammates left. It's getting really dark out here because everybody's left without teammates. This is the problem if you're France and you've been attacking left, right, and center throughout from 90 kilometers ago all the way to now, that you're down, reduced down the numbers. So Prevot doesn't have any teammates to really do any work. Now we start looking a little bit further back. Demi Voller in the Netherlands, okay, I like their tactics. You wanted to throw in attacks left, right, and center as much as you could if you believe you do not have the kind of legs to stay with Prevot on this circuit going up the cobble climb. So I like their tactics. Italy, do I like their tactics coming into 1 lap to go? No, they've been riding the front since kilometer 0 and riding it all the time for no reason when it should be France riding on the front, and France shouldn't have been attacking. So the only tactics I like from this group up here that's going to get a little bit larger as it slows, and we see some more riders get on the back like Urska Ziegart there and Chloe Dygert from the USA. They'll get back on and start making it a little bit bigger, but there's just not the team numbers. They've blown all their teammates up attacking left, right, and center. So we still got the 5 women going up the front, and then we're on with 1 lap to go. We hit the next climb on the course here, coming into about 6.6 kilometer to go, and Fisher and Magdalene from Canada throw in their attack. This is going to drop off. Niedermeyer from Germany, she's getting dropped, and Marcus is getting dropped from the Netherlands, so she's going out the back too. But Mavi Garcia is going to find her way, stretching and pulling and clawing her way back up there for Spain. So we got 3 riders up front. We look further back, and there's some action happening back there as Elisa Chabe is thrown in her attack. Now, she had some company. She had Marlene Reuser that put on a show back there coming into this, leading on the front there. She'd gotten away from the GC favorites, or from the favorites of today's one-day Road World Championships. But Reuser blown up. Now Chabe's throwing in her attack, and she's going to bridge up to the back wheel there of Rihanna Marcus from the Netherlands. Rihanna Marcus, though, she's a little bit wrecked. Her legs have been destroyed. She was tacking a ton. She got into this group, got dropped, found her way back on. Now she's getting dropped again, but they're still at about 25 seconds. But right now we see Elisa Chabe having some arguments back there with Rihanna Marcus, who at this moment I believe she just doesn't have the legs, so Elisa Chabe's got to do it. We go further back in the GC favorites, the big-time favorites, GC favorites, excuse me. I call everything a stage race. But the favorites here at today's Road World Championships, again, they just didn't have the numbers. We see Juliette Labousse from France. It's been dropped already, and then she's found her way to the front as it slowed down each time, and now she's pulling on the front for Prevot up there to try to give her a last shot at winning, but the gap's at about a minute. So at this point in time, when we start coming into the cobblestone climb with 3 riders in the front, now it's time to see Magdalene throw in her attack. She throws in the tack. Fisher Black's trying to follow up, but the gap's already opened up. The Spanish rider, Mavi Garcia's doing everything she can, but the gap's starting to open up to her too. We go a little bit further back down. Lisa Chabe has dropped Rihanna Marcus there from the Netherlands, so she's still trying to close the gap up, but the gap looks a little bit too big. Go down the favorites. They're too far. They're out of the picture right now because tactically, France messed up everything, and Italy messed up a little too much by pulling too often on the front too, and not doing enough to look after just their race leader, Longo Borghini. So as we go back up to the front, and we see Magdalene from Canada, she's going to start pulling hard on the pedals. She gets out of the saddle. She starts stretching out the gap. We see Fisher Black from New Zealand back there. She starts opening up the gap a little bit more, but just behind her is Mavi Garcia. So Fisher Black's got to keep digging deep. We go up over the top of the cobblestones, and we see Magdalene from Canada. She's going to take the first victory here at the Women's World Championships for Canada. Gold medal as she crosses over the last of the couple bumps, looks back over her shoulder, rides it across the line solo to win for Canada. Now, second across the line, Fisher Black puts on quite a show for New Zealand, too. That's a fine performance. Look back behind that. Mavi Garcia crosses the line for a podium position. Elisa Chabe comes through fourth. And then we got to look further back and near in the top 10 positions before we start seeing the favorites come across the line, like Demi Vollering in seventh. Now, we got to talk about the winner here, Magdalene. She put on a show. Guys, this was not just a gimme win. Every time I watched, every lap, every time they started showing the front of the peloton, she was always in fantastic position. Tactically, Magdalene, you were amazing on today's Women's Road World Championships and certainly deserved the gold medal because tactically you were perfect. Your legs were fantastic when the brakes started to form with about 35 kilometers to go. No messing around, always rotating at the front with Mavi Garcia and Fisher Black up there who never missed pulls. But Magdalene, you were something special. The legs were fantastic. The riding was perfect. When it's all said and done, congratulations from the Butterfly Effect to Canada and Magdalene for winning today's Road World Championship for the women's event. Now like and subscribe because tomorrow, of course, the Men's Road World Championship starts. It's the final day to wrap off this week-long coverage here of the World Championships. Like and subscribe, and don't forget to give a shout out to Xer, your online rowing app, for sponsoring every edition of the Road World Championships up and through tomorrow's Men's Road World course. Like and subscribe. I'll see you guys for tomorrow's Butterfly Effect real soon.